It's the show the establishment warned you about.
And welcome to the Dr. Tommy Show. I am your host, Dr. Tommy McElroy. I am the America's Free Market Doctor, and we are joining you live from Tampa, Florida, where we practice concierge medicine at Echelon-Health, and we're brought to you by Atlas MD, which is the preeminent medical software for membership medicine practices, including both direct primary care and concierge medicine. If you haven't heard of Atlas MD and you're in the direct primary care community, then you need to check it out, because it is the most useful thing that you can purchase. The first thing you do when you start your practice is to try Atlas MD, and the good thing is there's no huge sign-up fee for it. And actually, if you think about it, you get paid to sign up. You get paid $600 to sign up for Atlas MD, because you can use it for free. If you go to Dr. Tommy Show, that's drtommyshow.com, and click on special offer for Atlas MD, you can have Atlas MD for free for 60 days, and that is a $600 value. And today we're going to cover a few different things that are going to kind of tie together. And again, day 2 of the podcast without being able to hear the audio. And I had to just go with it, like as if there was audio playing. I would never know if there was or not, but I had to just go with my instincts. And I think you at home couldn't even tell.
Probably not.
That doesn't seem like a hard thing, but when you're used to hearing the music and you're used to timing the thing and you have to look at the bar, you know, I just thought about though, imagine Rush. Rush cannot hear. Well, he can hear a little bit with his, what do you call them?
His hearing aids.
Cochlear implant.
Yes, implants.
But for the most part, he's functionally deaf. And yet he still does the show. And he's been doing that, I think, since 2001.
Yeah, you would never
17
know.
years.
I did not know that he had implants.
Yeah.
Until you told me.
Yeah, I remember the day he announced that he went deaf. I was like, what? You're deaf? It's the craziest thing. It was like, it'd be like, it's like in that movie that we saw. Remember the movie with Denzel Washington where he's going from one part of the country to the other, and it's kind of like a post-apocalyptic, and he's traveling with this book that he's reading.
Yes.
The Book of Eli.
Yes, the Book of Eli.
Well, if you've not seen the movie, at the end, something happens, and you're like, what? I can't believe it. And that's the same way. Anyway, back to the point is this machine does not work, but yet I was able to overcome that, and you didn't even know at home or in your car. But machines not working is one of the things that makes me most want to explode. Not working machines. Not working machines and not working systems that people set up make me want to lose it. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing how bad it is when you're dealing with outside companies, people, whatever. Open that door.
You hot?
Yes.
You having a hot flash?
No, but I am hot. Anyway, but like, what was it the other day? You were on the phone. I forgot who it was with. We don't have to say the company name, but 40 minutes total, 30 minutes of that waiting. Mm-hmm. And then you asked a question, which is probably something that was, you were getting a deposit back from utility company. And it was like it was the first time anyone had ever had that request in the history of world.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. It's amazing in a bad way.
Making a random call to almost anyone nowadays is stressful.
Mm-hmm. It can make you want to just not even want to call.
Yeah, even yesterday, calling an insurance company.
Yes. Oh, go ahead and tell them that story.
Yeah, so we're having the baby in 16 days. Uh-huh. So I said, we've had it on our list to do, but we kept putting it off. And I said, okay, I have to call the insurance company and find out how much it's going to cost to add an infant to my policy.
Right. That's okay. Makes sense to me. You're pregnant. There's no insurance on the baby. The baby's going to have to be seen in the hospital. Mm-hmm. You know you're covered. What about the baby? Right. What about the baby? How do we find out how much it's going to cost? Is the baby covered? Okay, so what happened?
Well, they tell me that the baby is going to be, as long as the baby's in the hospital with me, the baby will be covered under my policy. So if I'm there 3 days, the baby's covered. Once the baby is discharged and I'm discharged, the baby will then be uninsured. Now, the insurance company will, it can be retroacted about 30 days. So I have 30 days to put the baby on the insurance.
Okay.
But I know, because I'm having a C-section, I know that we have to have the pediatrician see the baby in a matter of 3 days, is what he told us, 3 or 4 days.
Right.
So I thought, you know what, let me go ahead and get a price now.
Because we're thinking,
I want to plan ahead.
We want some other type of plan.
Yeah, maybe we want, a short-term plan, or maybe we just want to pay cash and not have insurance.
Maybe
what do we want to do? We're looking at all of our options here.
Trying to weigh your options.
So she tells me that this is through the marketplace. So now I get transferred. She wasn't able to help me, so I get transferred to someone else, a gentleman, and I tell him, So
you called the insurance company.
Yes.
Insurance company says, look, your plan is a marketplace plan, which basically means it's run by the government.
Right. Now, that was not the...
but you bought it from their website.
Yes. So now it is, which is why my GYN is dropping it.
Probably. We don't know for sure, but
we figure.
Yeah. Probably terrible payment.
Yes. Anyway, he says, oh, so you haven't had the baby yet? Because I told him what I needed. And I said, no, I'm scheduled September 14th. He said, oh, well, it doesn't work that way. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. I just need to get a price. This is an infant.
Right.
There's only one name for this. It's an infant. It's not It's not
He's not going to have hypertension. He's not going to smoke.
No diabetes. Right. It's an infant. People have them every day.
Right.
And he said, it doesn't work that way, ma'am. I can't give you a price. You have to give birth to the baby first, then call me back, and then I need to plug in the infant's name, the date of birth, and all that information. Then it's going to spit out a price.
Right. So back in the old days, what would happen is you'd have a baby be seen in the hospital. You'd go home, you'd follow up with a pediatrician, and then, you'd get a bill from the hospital for the baby being seen. And this is the old days. I'm talking about before managed care paid for every sprained toe and generic prescription that is free. Back before that was paid for by you would just get a bill from the hospital. It would have been something that they would have told you, okay, it costs this much to deliver a baby, $600, whatever it is. And then you go see the doctor and you'd pay the doctor the usual amount, $20, whatever it is. And that's it. But now we have this complex thing. But this was brought on by who?
Well,
the free market? The free market came up with this? Or the government came up with this?
Well, the government came up with this.
Yes.
So, anyway, it just makes it all difficult. I just want to know what it's going to cost me. Is it going to cost me $100 a month? Is it going to cost me $300 a month? Why can't I not plan ahead?
It reminds me of this thing, too. And this is an analogy. So, back when I was a resident, or whatever. Yeah, resident. You used to be on rounds, and they'd say, we need to put this patient on blah, blah, blah. What is the dose? So we have a book. You pull out of your pocket. Wow. You go open the book and you go to beta blockers and you look at the beta blocker dose and you look at the IV dose and you say, it's this many mg per kg every 6 hours, and the attending writes it down and away you go. And then you look like a hero because you figured it out. Well, nowadays you have to open your iPhone, you have to put your finger on it, or you have to look at it, or you have to put in your digits. You have to open up your app, then you have to click through 3 different levels of BS about trying to get you to sign up for something or do something else. Or
they have to have your email address.
Then you have to search. So the point of it is being technologically advanced is sometimes backwards.
Yes.
And particularly when it comes to healthcare, every time, if you want to see the most, you call it BS. If you want to see the most BS ever, that is just people blowing smoke, is look up healthcare innovation, and then you'll say healthcare innovation technology. That's what the ACA was built on. One of the things the ACA was built on, the Affordable Care Act, was built to have a government presence in your life even more so. So they took government presence out of, and you have the government presence in the life of poor people through Medicaid and welfare systems. You have government in the presence of old people's lives through Medicare and Social Security. ACA was a way to make the government present in everyone's life, every waking moment, and eventually not only their health, but everything tied to their health could all be. It was a grand plan by masterminds. Okay. So what the ACA did was take something that was very, free market oriented and make it all together. And so what we have now is you have this insurance company that cannot give you a price for a simple infant because it doesn't fit into the thing that they've concocted.
Right. And this is a human being. It's not like I'm calling to say, I don't know if it's going to be a farm animal, a cow, a pig, a goat. I don't know how. We know this is going to be an infant. We know that it's going to be small.
I've had this situation,
and like you said, no history of hypertension. This baby's not going to be a smoker.
Yeah. It seems like incompetence is the bar. Incompetence is the bar that we set as the goal. For some reason, that's the goal we've set in companies, customer service. Incompetence is that's like passing. So let's imagine you're in school, and they're going to say, "Look, passing used to be a C, or D even as a passing. We're going to make failing the passing grade. So all you have to do is to fail." I'm dealing with an insurance card company right now, so this is interesting. I couldn't pay the insurance payment. Not insurance card. Credit card company. Tried to make the payment. Payment website doesn't work. Call them up. Say your website doesn't work. Oh, no, our website works. Doesn't work. Well, we can take a payment over the phone. Fine. Give them the information. They pay off instead of the payment I wanted, the whole balance.
Yeah,
okay, that doesn't work because I didn't want to pay them all that money. So the money comes out, and then the money wasn't in there because it was a big balance. So then it comes back. Then it was a returned. Insufficient funds. So then the bank charges me money. So then I call them back the next day. And they say, well, you know what? The reason why you couldn't get to our website is because, are you a Spectrum customer? I said, yeah. I said, Spectrum has blocked our website. I said, well, interesting. That makes sense. So they finally were able to tell me that Spectrum blocked their terrible crap website. Mm-hmm. So then we come back and then they say, well, what's going on? It took like 30 minutes for me to explain that. From 30 minutes, I say, look, your person paid too much. They paid the balance instead of the payment I wanted. It took like 30 minutes to figure that out. And they said, well, we'll launch an investigation. I'm like, well, hell, that's no good. I don't want you to launch an investigation. I want you to just refund it, do whatever you're supposed to do. Well, it takes 7 to 10 days. Okay, fine, whatever. Call the bank, put a stop order on any payments to this company. Twice again, they tried to get the same amount of money. Twice. They tried to, and twice more they got denied. The same company. This was like a week later.
Yes, and they're charging a fee.
They're charging you a fee. They charged me a fee for insufficient funds. The bank charged me a fee, which they waived because I said, look, these people are ridiculous. And they said, well, we're actually a smart person. Mm-hmm. One of the people that didn't get to the failing level is their level of acceptance and competence level. They went above and said, we're going to actually go for above mediocrity is going to be what our goal is. We're going to go for above mediocre. We're not going to settle for anything that is mediocre. We're going to go above mediocre. These other companies, they say, our goal is failing. Our goal is incompetence. Anyway, so here we are. Was it 21 days later, I get a thing in the mail. It says, hi, we've looked into your matter. We can't, what do they say? It was like 2 sentences.
We looked into your matter and you basically need to call us.
Yeah, we don't know what's going on. We don't have any information about this. You can call us. So I've called this company like 3 times. I've sent them secure messages. But this is what, and the reason I say all this is because this is private companies. Ostensibly, these are for-profit companies trying to make $1. Look how terrible they are.
In the meantime, you have not been refunded.
No.
And you know what we did? We pretty much just went ahead and
said, here's some money minus what we're going to actually have to owe you.
So I'm
going to get that part back.
Yes, we went ahead and decided to pay it off a few days ago. But yes, we paid a little less, so they still owe money. And I think the last time you talked to them on the telephone, they said it would be refunded within 24 hours.
Yes. The gentleman in a foreign country that said that, it sounded like, from a different, faraway lands assured me that in 24 hours, the payment was going to be processed. Anyway, that is a private company trying to do this. Imagine now that this is the government. Imagine how well the government can run things. That shows you how well private companies trying to make $1 can run things. Imagine how well the government can run things on a big level. managing things that they have no business managing, like your health care.
Yes.
I'm not saying the septic tank, like the guy, we're going to have to get a permit for our septic tank. I'm not talking about those people. They probably will do a very efficient job, although it's taken 2 weeks, whatever the case is. It's probably going to be not that expensive. They're probably going to know exactly what to do, and probably going to get, now I might be jinxing myself, but I'm guessing this is local county government. This is something that falls in the purview of what I think the government should do. Okay. Or can do. Well, permit septic tanks. Okay. Not help you pick out what your insurance should be for your infant. And imagine there's some people out there that don't believe that do believe. They have this belief, this false belief that the government is smart and competent, and has their best interest at heart.
Do you think that the government has helped these people that feel that way?
No.
Do you think the government has helped them in the past, and that's why they
I don't
feel
think
that
so.
way?
I think it's a gut instinct that they have, that they've been taught. That's my guess. I think they have been taught government is good. Just like people who are religious have been taught, so the Prophet Muhammad is the prophet. Jesus is the son of God. Abraham is the, for Jewish religion, Hebrew. I think it's just belief. It's belief that the state is good. And this transitions perfectly into this movie review we're going to do. And this is a movie review for Stalin, which is from 1992, and it is starring Robert Duvall, Julia Ormond, and it is written by Paul Monash and directed by Ivan Passer. And this movie is put on by HBO, produced by HBO. And I watched this movie when I was a kid. My dad watched it. We actually had it on VHS back when Specs was around. Specs Music. I think we rented it from Specs Music on VHS. Anyway, so it's about Stalin's Joseph Stalin, starring Robert Duvall, portrays Joseph Stalin from the years of 1926 approximately, or actually 1918, the movie starts, all the way into 1951 when he died. And movie takes place. And if you're not familiar with Joseph Stalin, then Joseph Stalin is the one of the most notorious dictators from the 20th century, which was one of the bloodiest centuries ever. And most of all the blood was spilled in the name of socialism and communism.
Yes, it was a sad era for sure.
And imperialism in general. The Japanese were not communists or socialists; they were imperialists. But the whole point of it is these were people who ostensibly were there to lead lead the people in the belief of the government, and that's why the communists outlawed religion, because they didn't want any competition. They wanted people to believe in them. Anyways, Robert Duvall. It runs for 3 hours. It's a great movie.
Yeah, we spent 2 days.
2 days watching it. Broke it in just in half, and it's a great movie. It portrays Stalin as the ruthless dictator he was, but also as pragmatic, as tried to give him a sense of pragmatism, as this is what had to be done to lead Russia. And this movie also has it portrays some of the things that happened, particularly the purges of the 30s, as one of the most it's very unnerving, I think. It's
the sad truth.
Yes.
It is the sad truth of what happened and what these people went through.
The key part of the movie, I think, and this ties into what we're talking about today, is the part where Julia Ormond is portraying Stalin's wife, and she's coming back she basically went to visit her parents. She was going to leave Stalin, and her parents were comrades of Stalin's during the revolution. And her father said, basically, you go to your husband. You're not going to leave Stalin. Right. Stalin needs you, blah, blah, blah. So she went back to Stalin. She was driving from the countryside back to Moscow or Leningrad or wherever Stalin was. And she passes, there's these trains filled with people, and they're stopping and they're unloading dead bodies off, and they're sending people, peasants, somewhere. We don't know. Presumably to their death eventually, or work camps or whatever.
Yes.
But they're being shipped by the carload out. And there's a lady running, and she sees Julia Ormond, I guess, and knows that it's Stalin's wife, and is passing. And Julia Ormond makes her way to the front, or his wife makes her way to the front of the car, and is able to open the door and look out. And the woman says, "Tell Stalin that what they're doing to us, Tell Comrade Stalin what they're doing to us. And that's what it is. I think that's the key, is that the key for state control of anything, strong state control, strong central authority that commands your life, is to tell the people that whatever the problem is that they're going through, that's not from them.
Right.
That's from other people. We're here to protect you from them.
Well, he was notorious for, giving direction to his army of men and playing mind games with them. And then
he
coming
played them
back
against each other.
Yes.
So, yes.
So, these are people that worked closely with him. So can you imagine people, everyday people, that did not have that type of relationship with him? They would never think that he would make those orders.
Yeah. Well, it's like some people were saying, well, take this for now. If you were to go ask people right now on the street today, healthcare sucks. Healthcare, we can't get to see a doctor. And you know what they would say? They'd say, well, we just need to do more. The government needs to do more. They would never think that the government caused this through its manipulation of free markets and its false promises of offering things that they had no ability to offer. The government, it's laughable.
More and more people, though, are seeing it now.
Yes, you're
which is
right.
how Trump got. Which is how Trump got in the office, because people are seeing it and people realize, okay, this isn't right. We need a change.
Well, here's the funny thing. This is one of the things that, and the thing about the movie Stalin and collectivism in general is it plays to the emotions of people and saying this, we're going to institute fairness. Beautiful example. ACA instituted fairness by saying 80% of all expenditures by insurance companies has to be on patient care. Only 20% can be for other things, marketing, paying salaries, do this and then that. Okay, so let's say that you want to maintain. So in their mind, the idea is, I guess in the mind of the fantasy world of a collectivist, the idea is these companies now are going to say, they're going to take money out of their wallets. They're going to say, you know what, this here, we're going to put this in the pot because now we have to save. Now they've come along. They've told us what to do now. They are going to institute fairness through the ACA, and now this money here is going to go in a special pot because now only 20% of the money we take in can be used for us. You know what they did? No. What they're going to do? What would anybody do in a business? Now you've guaranteed them the ability to raise prices, essentially, because they're saying, well, we want to maintain our lifestyle. So yeah, we'll take 20%. We'll only take 20%. We're going to raise the price of this product so much that we can maintain our lifestyle, maybe even make more off of that 20%. And what's going to happen to the premiums? Go up, 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 up. It's this belief, though, that would not happen, which I don't know if people believe it or not. I know for sure that the majority of the people who make the laws, though, know it's not true, because Paul Gruber has said as much. The guy, they call him the architect. He said, he's on tape, you can Google it, Jonathan Gruber, not Paul Gruber. He was a tackle, I think, for the Bucks. Anyway, Jonathan Gruber, he says that, we had to sell this as a way to, I forgot what he said, but basically he said the American people are too stupid to figure this out. And we had to sell this to them in a different way. We had to sell it in a convoluted way. They're too stupid to figure it out, but we're trying to do something that we got this big, it's the same as Stalin. I've got this big plan. You people are too stupid to understand it, so you're just going to have to do what I say. And that works fine, I guess. It doesn't work fine. But if that's the way you want to run your communist regime, then have at it. But that's not the way it works in America.
No, so you have people like us paying nearly $400 a month for our premium. And then you have some, a lot of people not paying anything or paying very little because they get a subsidy. And I don't know. A lot of people, maybe they don't care. Just like the people, Stalin's followers, they're sitting there eating turkey and ham and roast beef and this, massive spread. And
people are starving
and then
to death.
people are starving.
I think what the major thing we have to get across is that the government is not doing the thing it's supposed to do. That's what the Convention of the States is about. Convention of States is about reducing government back to in its constitutional limits. If you did that, all these things would take care of themselves. So if if we reduce government back to its constitutional limits, federal government that is, the states would then have to step up and provide whatever welfare services they want to provide. Or if the government would back off and not be a competitor to charities. Right now, charities. For instance, let's say that there was old people that needed insurance right now. Let's say you had an endowment. You're a millionaire or some billionaire, and you want to do an endowment for a low price insurance for old people. You're not allowed to, unless you're signed up with Medicare. Medicare has a monopoly over old people's insurance, and unless you're able to be one of these Medicare Advantage groups, you're not going to be allowed to. So if they would just take their foot off of the neck, the invisible foot of government off of the neck of the market, all these things. So people say, well, there's going to be poor people. They're going to die in the streets. That has never happened in recent memory. That there's never been poor people dying in the streets because the people in America are charitable people. The people, not the government. The people are charitable. And there would be, all of these things would be solved through the market, through private charities, through even government locally, but not the federal government. The federal government exists for the benefit of itself, just like Stalin existed for the benefit of himself and his oligarchy, the Politburo, the Communist Party. Anyway, Stalin is available only on DVD. And it is actually, I think it's available on Blu-ray too. But it's put on by this company that it's not like a state-of-the-art DVD. It doesn't have even chapters or anything, but it does work in a DVD player.
It does, yeah. It kind of looks like might be homemade. Yeah. I mean, the quality's pretty good, but
it's not like a DVD like you expect. Like it's going to have chapters and like behind the scenes. It's basically the video cassette put digitally, which works good for me because I don't. Actually, it used to be if you wanted to buy this, you had to buy the VHS, and the VHS was like $40. Huh. And that was the only way to see it. So now you can watch it. Stalin, HBO put it on back in 1992. Starring Robert Duvall. You forget that he's Joseph Stalin in this movie. Yeah. Other thing I want to talk about, it ties in, and that's briefly to last week, is the esports. There's been a shooting in Jacksonville at an esports convention. Yes. And this is just after we had covered about how these colleges now are offering esports as scholarships for kids to play esports and then spending money on these huge facilities this is an example of how technology, back to our other point, is not always for the advancement of culture or humanity in general. Right. They're going to be taking funding away from PhD programs and master programs and certain bachelor programs, supposedly because enrollment is down, and this money will be put towards esports. So sports, if you think, is about it in the traditional senses, it's teaching young people and then old people the art of sportsmanship. You win sometimes, you lose sometimes. It's more than just sports. Esports is what you get on and you game. So you withdraw from the society, and not disparaging gamers, because I know there's probably some gamers listening. But in general, if you're going to say, look, we're not going to say playing sports outside is the same as playing esports. It's not. It's definitely different. It's more. You're going to withdraw. You say, well, I have friends online. But it is a perversion of the relationships that you develop in sports. In the same way, it's a perversion that if you just had online relationship with somebody, like, these people that have online, they don't even have relationships with people other than online. Yeah, that's not a healthy thing mentally to withdraw. No, it's not. So it's not shocking that someone who did that would end up doing what they did. This is what a 24-year-old gamer. Yeah, and who apparently had a history of mental illness. Or depression, anyway. But yes, he took his own life at the end, right? Yes, he killed himself and then others. Yes, and then of course the answer is more gun laws. And he did this out of anger because he lost. Yeah. So the answer is just all this too. If you ask your garden variety believer in government, is we need more gun laws. This shows for sure the gun laws are too lax. We need to have a gun law against shooting people that are playing video games. Maybe that's it. Have they passed a gun law specifically against shooting people playing video games? That would solve the problem. Most definitely. Primaries happened yesterday. Adam Putnam Putnam was beat by Rick DeSantis. Is that his name? Rick?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, DeSantis is the the nominee for the Republican Party for Florida governor. And then Andrew Gillum beat Gwen Graham, who is the, I guess you'd call her the establishment candidate of the Democrat Party, because she is the son or daughter of Bob Graham. And Bob Graham was former longtime senator and from, I believe he was governor of Florida as well. So that'll be an interesting setup. It's going to be the Bernie endorsed Andrew Gillum against the Trump endorsed DeSantis for the governor's mansion in November.
Yeah, I before this election, I didn't even know anything about Rick DeSantis. Does he go by Rocky also?
No, that's the guy who ran against him.
Oh, okay.
He's some type of perennial candidate that's apparently always on the ballot.
Okay.
I don't know anything about it. It's good or bad. That's what I read.
Well, anyway, I've heard the name Putnam for a long time.
Putnam has been in politics since his 20s in Florida.
Right.
And at one point was a big shot, number 3, I believe, in the House of Representatives. Then he came back to Florida and ran for Secretary of Agriculture, which he has been now for many years. But he is the homegrown Florida, knows all the levers in Florida, and he got beat handily by DeSantis. And the only thing that we can determine that allowed him to do that, not the only thing, the major thing, was Trump's endorsement.
Right.
And Putnam apparently was vocally, not just privately, but vocally anti-Trump. And that may have been a poison pill for him. Good, bad, or indifferent.
I think so.
I don't care who it is, as long as their first goal is to not spend more than what they should in government and live within constitutional boundaries. Well, that's it for this week. If you are in the Tampa area, we're having a healthcare for small business event next week. It's next week, right?
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday at 6 o'clock. It is going to be a 1-hour event from 6 to 7 at Echelon-Health in Tampa. And we invite you to join us. And we also invite you to do that. Go to drtommyshow.com. drtommy.com. DOCTOR Tommy.com. That's the main site. And then you can register online there. And then send us an email. And then also today's song of the week is, again, from the Black Keys. And this is Nobody But You, covering Junior Kimbrough. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, bye-bye.
Who was that? That was